Good, how are you?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Municipality of Monroeville's regular council meeting. Today is Tuesday, September 8th, 2015, approximately 7 p.m. If we'd all kindly rise for the Lord's Prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing. For those of you of other faith, give them time to say their prayer, which is appropriate for their faith, if you would. Please be seated. Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mayor Cinco,
Here.
Mrs. Gatos.
Here.
Dr. Griesbach.
Here.
Mr. Harvey.
Here.
Mr. Johns.
Here.
Mr. Clary.
Here.
Mr. Duncan.
Here.
Mr. Wilson.
Here.
Mr. Little.
Here.
Mr. Dice.
Here.
Mr. Lally.
Here.
Mr. Hugus.
Here.
Mr. Sedlak.
Here.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to change a little bit of the schedule because we have a couple of presentations I'm going to allow to go first. And we have our Monroeville Finance Authority. So, Mr. Brown, if you would please step up, sign your name for the record, and state your name for the record. Gee whiz, can't get it out tonight.
I knew what you meant.
Yeah, I hear you.
He didn't.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Well, good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council, and members of the municipal administration. As stated, my name is Jim Brown, and it is an honor and a privilege to stand before you this evening as the chairman of the board of directors of the Monroeville Finance Authority. As you may recall, council created the Finance Authority in 2012 with the passage of ordinance number 2545 for the sole purpose of acting as a conduit authority for the financing of projects on behalf of nonprofit corporations. Since its inception, the Monroeville Finance Authority has brought to the municipality over $500,000 in revenue through the collecting of closing costs and annual fees stemming from 4 separate nonprofit corporate bond issues. And tonight we will be presenting to you the latest contribution that has come as a result of our efforts. But first, I would like to recognize and introduce the members of our board. First is Mrs. Virginia Finnegan. She is our treasurer. And seated next to her is Mrs. Deborah Balsick. She is our secretary. And next to Deborah is Mr. R.J. Micah. He is our newest board member. Come on up. They're a little shy.
And it is with
regret.
I don't think JR is shy.
And it is with regret that I do mention Mr. Gary Pugliano, who was a member of our board, serving as vice chairman during the latest bond issue closing. However, he has recently submitted his resignation, and we certainly thank him for his service, and we wish him well. And last but not least, Councilwoman Linda Gatos is our council representative and our municipal liaison, and we appreciate her support and her attendance at our meetings. And I would ask kindly and respectfully if she could come forward, because now, the moment you've all been waiting for, we have a little something that we would like to present to you. And if our treasurer could bring forward the check.
Wow.
There we go.
Very nice.
This.
All of my fellow councilmen in Monroeville, we'd like to say thank you for all the effort that you guys put in for this. You can see it pays off for the taxpayers. and this is a very, very well-run board. I'm very happy to be the liaison, so thank you so much.
Well,
Mr. Brown,
I should
Mr.
mention,
Dear Mr. Lau,
oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Brown,
Yes, please. Personal account?
can we deposit that at the drive-through?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
They'll make accommodations.
okay.
I don't know any bank that would turn down that. This check, by the way, for $100,000, it represents the proceeds collected by the authority for the 2012 UPMC Series bond revenue issue. That bond was worth about $72 million, and we were able to bring back $100,000 for the municipality.
Thank you.
Thank
job.
Thank you very
Good job,
much.
Dolly.
Thank you.
Good job.
And I have to do that every year for the next 16 years. This is the 4th year. It's 20 years.
Wow. Excellent.
Very nice.
Keep up the good work, Jim.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
And
you.
all members.
Thank you, everyone.
Please.
Thanks, Jim.
Right now, I'm going to ask Mike Gleason to come on up. And for those of you who don't remember Mike, he handles some of our insurance. So, and if you all recall last Thursday's meeting, needless to say, there were a lot of questions and et cetera, and maybe even a little bit confused, some of us up here and even some in the audience. So what I'd like to do to help it keep a little more organized is, Linda, I'm going to start off with you. If you have any questions for Mike in regards to our insurance with him, if you would.
The question I would have is, as the broker of record, you therefore, once you secure a quote from a company, no one else can get a quote from that particular company, correct?
For property casualty, that is correct.
Okay. If you did not have the broker of record issued from us to you, could you still get quotes from other companies?
You don't need to issue a letter for me to go get quotes. So no, there doesn't have to be an official letter for me to get quotes, no.
Okay. But is it reasonable to say then that we have to give a market to, if we want other quotes, so that there's not overlapping of the company from insurance brokers?
If you wanted to do that, you certainly could, absolutely.
Okay. That's all I have.
Nick?
Mike, if you just could briefly explain how the whole process works as far as, you do property casualty, and you search, you look at a few different companies. How many companies roughly are you looking at for the different types of insurance that we handle? And kind of explain that process if you could.
Well, there's a certain amount of companies that'll quote a public entity. So it's a specialty niche as far as insurance goes. It's not your everyday coverages. There's a lot of moving parts to it. There's a lot of different coverages. So there's a very small world of insurance carriers that will go after your business. When I say small, I mean probably a handful in Western Pennsylvania that are active and that are writing and trying to write new business. So my company, Arthur J. Gallagher, is the largest broker for public entities in the country. So what we do is we try to find new insurers that are willing to compete for your business. So what we do is we find insurance companies, we shop out your coverages every year and try to get you the best deal. So, as my clients hire me for that expertise and to be the broker for the municipality and get quotes for them. So that's the process we worked through here. Last year, we saved 3% on the property casualty. The premiums went down.
Yeah, so you said you're as far as like a national company, Arthur Gallagher is, does that help as far as finding better rates, as far as, does it spread liability?
Well, what it does is you hire a broker for a couple reasons. One of them is trust. So you have to trust that person that they're bringing the best deals to the table. Number two is you want the person representing you in the marketplace that's going to deliver the most business or a lot of business to these carriers so that they have negotiating power with these carriers. So for Gallagher being big for the municipality is a plus that we have a lot of weight, a lot of volume with most of these carriers, and we can negotiate the best deals we can.
Nick, anything else?
Not right now, actually.
Ron?
Do you provide our health insurance?
I'm the broker for the health insurance, and that is currently under an RFP, which is due on, I believe, the 25th. Yes.
And have you ever competed with other brokers in the same city or town?
Sure. Yeah. we
How do they
compete.
work that? How do they do that?
There's different ways you can do that, and I think Tim has outlined the various ways that if you wanted to bring in other brokers, or you could. I mean, that's what.
Well, I mean, obviously, if you were assigned certain coverages to go get prices on, and you went to insurance company A, another broker couldn't go to that same insurance company, correct?
If you're assigned those carriers, correct? Yes.
They would have to go find somebody else to compete with your bid, right?
Right. Yes.
That's what I meant. So you have competed with, like a bid process.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It happens. Yeah. There's no doubt.
Is there any towns close to us that have done that you?
Well, the last one I competed in an RFP process was Ross Township, and that was last year, and we were chosen as to the broker in that.
Have you ever bid like the city of Pittsburgh?
Recently, I did put in, they had an RFP process that for their excess workers' comp program, yes.
Jim?
Yeah, I wasn't going to ask anything. I'm trying real hard to understand. I really am. This has been going on for a long time. Do you need to be the broker of record to get a quote from an insurance company?
It's not, the process is.
It's a simple yes or no.
No. I mean, it depends. That's the answer. I mean, it depends.
So if I were to say Bob and Fred or whoever, two other folks were standing there beside you from obviously different companies, could the three of you in turn go out and shop our insurance? Or is there something that stops that from happening?
No, there's people that put out an blanket RFP and say, here's our coverages, have at it, and see what you can
understand.
bring to the table. Absolutely, you can do
Okay.
that.
All right. You answered my question. Thank you.
Paul?
No question, sir.
Steve?
If that was to happen, a competitive type thing, would the broker of record have advantage? Is he privy to other things that whoever would come in and compete with you?
Well, I mean, it's all based on, public record or public information that the administration would share in that process for people to get quotes. But, there's a lot of different factors involved in, how the insurance carriers, if you do assign the carriers to the different companies, you could go that way. But, I mean, if you have to figure out the process to assign. So, I mean, it gets very complex. But that's something administration would run if they wanted to do that, for sure.
We're hearing through our discussion of this matter for quite some months that a broker of record would have an advantage over somebody just coming in, but you're saying that's not the case. So.
Well, no, I mean, not the case if, it depends on how you run the situation. If you do a blanket RFP.
So that would be up to our manager?
That's up to the manager of how to run it. It's not up to me. I mean, so typically, you get into a situation like that where the administration is dissatisfied with the job their broker's doing. And then if that's the case, then, that can happen. The process can go forward.
No, I'm not stating that that's the case.
Well, and I wasn't inferring that. I was just saying, but that's typically when that happens.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, Steve?
No, I have no more.
Tom?
Okay. Is Arthur Gallagher a global company, or is it just a local?
No, it's a global company. They have
Okay.
offices all over the
Okay,
world.
and this is one office of theirs, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Please bear with me, I have some information I'd like to share. The definition of a broker of record. In insurance, a broker of record is an agent designated by the policyholder to represent and manage the policyholder's insurance policy. The broker of record may receive copies of all communications to the policyholder may receive all quotes, policies, and notices on behalf of the policyholder. They may also obtain and evaluate insurance quotes and policies and recommend changes to existing policies. Have you, as your company and you, have you made recommendations to changing some of our existing policies?
Yes.
Okay. Can you give me an example, please?
Last year, we changed the the property casualty coverages, not all of them, but some of them, to get better pricing.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I wear hearing aids.
Last year, we changed the property casualty on some of the lines of business in order to get better rates, resulting
were able to
resulting in
save
a 3%
You were
reduction
able to save us 3%.
last
Is
year.
that right?
Correct.
And what is our total cost of our insurance?
I have it right here. Can I
Somebody
grab
have it? Oh, okay, yeah.
$577,640.
Okay, so the 3% was?
The 3% was 596,061 minus 577. That works out to, my calculator, I gotta turn my phone on.
15,000. How much was it?
About 15,000 roughly.
Right. Okay. Okay. Now, I'm going to take this a step further. Breaking down the broker of record. The broker of record can serve an individual or may assist a company, for example, with handling the health insurance policies of its employees. In return, the broker of record may earn a monthly commission from the health insurance company. I'm using health insurance as an example. Okay? Broker of record letter is used to legally establish a relationship between the broker, policyholder, and the insurance company. Is that correct?
The definition sounds relatively on spot.
Such a letter can be used to designate a broker of record for the first time or to replace an existing broker of record with a new one. Okay? So what I'm asking, what I'm hearing is that the broker of record blocks out anybody else to compete for our insurance. That's what I'm hearing with this.
Blocks out?
Well,
I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about.
It doesn't let any competition come in and bid on our insurance.
If the administration decided to change the broker, they could bring that up, you could vote on it, and I wouldn't be the broker anymore.
The manager was instructed at one point in time to send a revocable letter, or a letter of revocation to the broker of record. Okay? Now, if that happened, that would have taken you away from being the broker of record. Is that correct?
I'm not familiar with a revocation of broker of record. The carriers would still...
Well, let's say we send you a letter and say you're not the broker of record any longer.
Well, then you're firing me.
Okay? Okay. So then what happens at that point?
Well, you wouldn't have a broker.
Right, right. So then we could open it up to other candidates.
You could hire another broker, that is correct.
Okay. Okay. All right, now that you're the broker of record, okay, now, you and your company are only able, are the ones that are able to go out and solicit prices for the insurance, correct?
Are you talking property casualty or
I'm
benefits?
talking whatever. Whatever.
Well, it depends.
Pardon me?
It depends.
What?
It depends.
It depends.
It depends on the situation.
Well, I'm talking about the casualty, what we're talking about today, right now.
Okay, property casualty. What was your question again? Do I block out other brokers?
If you're the broker of record, or are you and your company the only agent that can go out and solicit quotes for the municipality?
Only if the administration decides that that's the way it's going to be.
Okay, well, it sounds like the administration has decided that.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. It depends on what how council wants to approach this.
If I could ask a question, Tim, if you could help me out with this, or Mike. So let's say tomorrow, Mr. Little wanted to get other quotes for property and casualty. You could seek numbers from other companies for quotes on property and casualty from different companies, correct?
You could, like Mike said, like we talked about last Thursday, you can assign markets. You would have to assign markets to different brokers.
Right, because obviously Mike would already, Arthur Gallagher would already have, they already have the policies, so that's their, what we're currently have.
They would have Great American, who we currently have right now with respect to property and casualty. You could, broker B could have Travelers, broker C can have Scottsdale, if Scottsdale's still in the, you could assign different companies, different insurance companies.
And Mike, even currently, as you currently the broker of record, we currently have policies. Could you right now shop for other coverage under our current policies?
Well, that's what we've done every year. I mean,
I know you do it annually, but I mean, could you do it mid-year?
Well, it is that time right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, we would normally be in the beginning of the process right now. So you would have quotes in time for the renewal.
Okay. I have a couple more. How do you determine our rates? How are our rates determined?
The rates are determined by the underwriters through the underwriting process. They are based upon the exposures of the municipality, how many vehicles you have, what your property values are, what your payrolls are, and what your claims experience is, what your losses are.
When you say claims experience, what does that mean?
Well, I can equate it to if you have an auto policy and you wreck your car 3 or 4 times, your rates are going to go up. So that's what I mean by claims experience.
Are you aware that that's illegal today?
I am not aware of that,
Well,
and this is what I do for a living, so that would be a big shocker for me,
Well,
Tom.
I'm going to shock you then. Okay? When it comes to insurance, customers can be loyal to a fault. This is the editorial in yesterday's Post-Gazette. Higher premium, to a fault, paying higher premiums because they neglect to look for better rates, a consumer advocacy group says. Insurance companies deny punishing drivers for loyalty, but 8 states, including Pennsylvania, are suspicious enough to issue stern warnings that practice is illegal. Customers, to be safe, had better shop around. The Consumer Federation of America, based in Washington, D.C., has accused Allstate and other insurers of price optimization, setting prices on market factors rather than a driver's risk. The consumer group says that nearly 60% of consumers pay more than they should for insurance because they fit a profile of customers who never bother to investigate other companies that would offer them better rates. Another consumer advocate, Consumer Reports, has called it a schmo tax, a penalty dealt the gullible and the loyal. Another relevant term is price gouging, exploitive pricing based on circumstances, not the cost of service or goods. And here in Pennsylvania, it's illegal, as the Insurance Commissioner Teresa Miller noted in her warning last month to insurers. Meanwhile, Consumer Reports suggests a way around the practice that anybody should question a rate, especially if it's gone up, comparison shop, and think twice before signing automatic renewal. In this way, consumers can practice price optimization too. I'd be happy to give this to you.
Yeah, I read the same thing, and they're not talking about what I'm talking about as far as the...
Oh, we're not?
No.
Oh, okay.
And it's perfectly legal for businesses to be underwritten based upon their claims.
I'm sorry, can't hear you.
It's legal for businesses to be underwritten based on their claims. So if you have really good claims experience, your rates are here. That article, as far as I know, was talking about a lot of different factors beyond just claims. They were talking about where people live, what their credit scores were, what areas they lived in, how poor they were. At least that's what I
think the
thought.
key, Mike, I think the key here is that the key is that the consumer group says that nearly 60% of consumers pay more than they should because they fit a profile.
That's probably true.
Okay. Wait, let me find where I need to go here. Basically, what they're telling us is that we need to shop around, and we haven't shopped around.
We shop around every year, and we have
Well,
every year.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about this body up here. We have not shopped around.
And I can assure you, you're not being gouged because
No,
we
I'm
go
not
to
saying
market
that.
every...
I'm not gonna
Well,
accuse you of anything.
But that's what you were talking
But
about in the article.
But there's no way for us to compare.
We do
Is there?
compare it every year. We compare.
I don't
rates.
see a way we can compare.
Yeah, Mike, when do you, because I know you present every year to
Every year.
us.
The marketing summary. We
Yeah,
present the
what
carriers.
month is that, whenever you present? Because I know, in the past, I know you always present the different insurance carriers, the quotes you get from the different insurance companies.
In December typically, and we show every insurance company we go to, we give you letters showing, Tim gets all the letters showing who we approached and what the underwriters say. So we give you the actual emails of people, the underwriters and what they say. So it's a very transparent process.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, now, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience. Before I open up for public comment on the proposed agenda items only, I would like to have an announcement that council conducted an executive session for personnel and litigation reasons prior to Citizens Night on September 3rd, 2015, which began at 6:15 and ended at about 6:58 p.m. Council legislative action, if any, shall be taken at tonight's September 8th, 2015 council meeting. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, on any of the proposed agenda items, as you see on, and hopefully there were enough copies to go around, it's certainly your turn to come on up and address any of the items that you see in front of council. Seeing none, we'll go over to the approval of the minutes of Citizen Night meeting of August 6, 2015, council work session of August 6, 2015, and the regular council meeting of August 11th, 2015. Are there any questions, concerns, additions, or corrections? Is there a motion on the floor?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Dr. Griesach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Moving over to our approval of the reports of our tax collections, once again, council, any additions or corrections? Seeing none, is there a motion on the floor?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Dr. Griesach?
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
And once again, on our payroll report, any corrections or additions, council? Seeing none, motion on the floor.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Dr. Griesach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
I forgot to make the announcement that if, at our last Thursday council work session, all these items were discussed in full. Moving over to our list of bills and budget transfers. Once again, council, any additions or corrections on either item? Seeing none, motion on the floor.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach?
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Moving over our vacancies on boards, commissions, and authorities. Council, do we have any nominations or appointments?
Yes, Mayor, I have one nomination. I would like to nominate Kara Kessler to the Convention Visitors Bureau.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Any other appointments or nominations? Seeing none, we'll move over to the consent agenda or new business, and Mr. Little, if you would.
Okay, item number one is LLC All Floor Supply Company. Applicant is requesting site plan approval to construct an 11,934 square foot warehouse addition to the existing 13,584 square foot facility and associated site amenities. The property is located at 168 Dexter Drive in the M1 Planned Industrial Zoning District.
Motion on the floor.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Questions or comments, council? Seeing none, roll call, Sharon, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Little, on motions, if you would.
Okay, we have one motion, Mayor, a motion to accept the resignation of Gary Pugliano from the Monroeville Finance Authority.
Motion on the floor.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach?
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Mr. Little, resolutions.
A resolution under Act 205 of 1984, known as the Municipal Pension Plan Funding Standard Recovery Act, the 2016 Minimum Municipal Obligation, MMO, for the police and non-uniform pension plans.
Motion on the floor.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Questions or comments, council? Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Little. Mr. Dice, the
Yes,
one ordinance.
I don't know whether this ordinance is going to remain on the table. I believe it is, so a motion would be in order to table again, or the ordinance electing to amend the municipal pension plan.
Motion on the floor.
Motion to table.
Second.
Questions or comments? Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach?
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
And we'll move over to reports of our municipal staff, and Mr. Dice.
I don't have anything.
All righty, Mr. Little.
Yeah, I just have one item that's not on here. We got the application for the Community Development Block Grant for year 42, 2016, which is federal money. Most of the time, communities like Monroeville, they can apply for ADA, for instance, depressed curbs or different things in the park, anything that helps handicap, demolition of homes. We discussed this in a staff meeting this past week, and I believe it was Liz Summers from the tax office. She says a lot of elderly people and handicapped people coming into the doorway there, and in the front door, it would be better if we had an automatic door like we have down at the Senior Citizen Center. So mentioning to council, what I'm going to do is, if it's okay with council, is I got a quote for replacing that door for approximately $21,000. Now, that doesn't include electric. I think we could probably do that in-house, and we could hopefully get a 50-50 match on that. Now, the money wouldn't come in for over a year, and we would have double sliding doors out there, just like the Senior Citizens Center only has one, though. We would have two there, and I don't think, it doesn't seem to me that's a bad price for that. So elderly and handicapped, and even anybody can come in and have a sliding doors on the both inside and outside of the airlock there, unless council has a problem with me applying for that. It's due this Friday.
Council member, floor is open.
Have at it.
Please apply.
Okay.
I just didn't realize it cost $21,000. Wow, that's a lot of money.
No, in fact, it's less
definitely needed.
expensive than I thought, to tell you the truth. when I
That's
got
for
the
both,
quote.
that's for both doors, too.
Yeah, it's for both
Double-
doors, yeah.
Well, it's definitely needed, that's for sure. Anything else for us, Tim?
That's all.
Paul
No, sir.
and Sean,
sir.
All righty, we'll move over now to public comments on any municipal item that you would like to address. Please come on up. And Betsy, I saw you signed in, so come on up first. Yeah, well, absolutely.
Okay, hi, my name is Betsy Desmond. Haven't seen you guys for a while. Doing a good job. I have 3 things I want to ask. Is garbage a day late this week?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Number 2,
That was easy.
Thank you for
That's
the
every
reminder.
year.
well, I don't know.
Good. Now everybody
Number
knows.
2, I'm head of the crime watch in the 7th ward, all 3 wards. I am going to be having a meeting in October, and it has to be on a Thursday. I got to call into number 6 fire hall to get the hall. So I'm hoping October 8th that I can get it. That's not Citizens Night, right? No.
I'm just getting ready.
Yes, it is.
It would be.
Yes, it is.
Oh, 'cause
Yeah,
I
it
ca-
is.
Oh, it is? Because I called up here and they told me today that Citizens Night was October 1st.
No, remember, the meeting has to be, the regular council meeting has to be the second Tuesday
Okay.
of every month.
So then I'll try to get it October 1st, because I got misinformation. There'll be signs up. One of the main things is, I will not have kids having to move their bus stops in our area because they're sex offenders. Budget cuts have cut a school guard over there where we are. I know you guys are in budget. I think you ought to look into, our services are great, road crew, garbage, trash, the police departments. I think you need to look into cutting the animal control, nothing against animals, I love them. I get calls all the time about the dead animals and this and that. You need to get more volunteers up there to work. People are calling because they're not getting called back. But I do not,
Betsy, from our animal control?
yes, I do not want to lose our main services, especially when it comes to kids. And so when you're working on your budget, please take that into consideration. I know our animal control man will not lose his job, he will go to a different department. But I am upset that a resident from Garden City had to go to Channel 11 News to get her child's bus stop removed because Gateway would not do nothing.
That's not true, Beth.
That's
Why did you say, Beth?
because they wouldn't move her bus stop at first. So she went to Channel News.
Went to where?
Channel
News.
11 News.
Okay.
And it was on the news. That's uncalled for. That should not, they shouldn't have to go to the news.
Just so you know, Betsy, I got the call secondhand. I addressed that with Dr. Zetti. She apparently got it before me, and she absolutely...
Oh, she did not come here. The lady came to the school district first.
Right. It was approved, is what I'm saying.
Okay, well, that's not what
That was my understanding from the superintendent.
Yeah, it wasn't that on the news.
Well, but I appreciate, yeah, well, you know we have no jurisdiction. but I just
Exactly.
imagine-
I know that, but that's what I'm saying, and there's been,
You're basically looking for a crossing guard, am I correct?
well, I understand why we don't have to, we can't have it anymore, and so far, everything's good. I also heard from a lady over in, Ron, it's not your area, it's in the 7th ward, but it's off of Logan's Ferry. What's that little,
Little hedge.
yeah, which I don't know why she posted this, but she posted it, that there's been a couple robberies and break-ins over there. Lock your doors. But a lot of people from Garden City have called me and they want a meeting, so, and it's for everybody in Monroeville, whoever wants to come.
Yes,
But,
let me address that. I talked to Tim, sorry, Joe. I talked to Tim about the crossing guard at Garden City and Evergreen. And Tim said he would look into it. And what happened, Tim?
it's not feasible or something, or,
We're going to bring that up at budget time,
yeah, I mean,
okay? as
Well,
far as-
what does that cost us on a daily basis?
Their hourly rate off the top of my head, I don't know.
So, well, how many hours a day do they spend there?
I believe they probably put in about maybe 4
Okay.
hours.
Okay, so
Chief
that's
Cole.
4 hours times 180 days, is that right?
That would be,
Okay. So what's
Chief
that give
Cole.
us, 720 hours?
I did talk to Chief Cole about this. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom, just for FYI, Chief Cole has all that.
I understand that, but
Isn't
We
that
had a
isn't
crossing
it the
guard.
police
If it's a
jurisdiction?
safety
Yeah,
issue.
The safety of the crossing guards, that's under the police do that, not, we didn't assign.
We had a
or-
crossing guard there,
We
and
didn't
she
take
got
but we
one
still
away.
have to pay for it, though.
I know, but we didn't take one away. We
No.
didn't.
I
They
know, yeah,
just-
oh, I know. If
Okay.
somebody retired or was sick or
No,
something.
she got
But we
sick
haven't
and they didn't
replaced it,
replace
though.
it,
That's
no.
the issue. That person hasn't been replaced.
And I was told, I noticed it, and then I asked another school guard, was she still sick? And she said, could you please make the phone call? Because they're not replacing her.
That's usually what happens when one of the guards are sick or off, a police officer.
Right, and that
Covered.
happened at the end of the year because the woman had
So
a
it's-
stroke.
it's not being covered now?
No.
No.
And it's not being, and I was asked to call. I don't know why everybody's afraid to call.
I think we got to ask the chief. The chief would know.
Yeah, he explained it, he had a cut in his budget. Well, I'm asking you guys, when you're doing our budget, don't cut the road crew, the garbage man, the recycle, the really good services we need. And I'm not saying we don't need animal control. I don't know if we need animal control 24/7. Okay? I just think you need to look into that department, and nothing against Mike. He's a good guy, and he will not lose his job, but that's where you need to look, not police and, road
Betsy, let
crew.
me just say this to you. When we are doing the public hearings on the budget, please attend. And anybody else that's open to the entire public.
All right, well, call me when they are,
We'll be
because I'm a
announcing
little
it
bit
on-
busy.
We'll announce it on, Betsy, I sure. What are you gonna do with her, Linda?
All right, it was nice seeing you guys.
Thank you.
You too, thanks, Bets.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I will leave the floor open for anybody who would like to address council. This is certainly your time to do that. Seeing none, we'll close that portion of the meeting, and we'll go over to the reports of our council members. And Tom, it's your turn.
I'd just like to say thanks to Mr. Sedlak for taking care of the fan in the police bathrooms and for getting the lights.
That was fun last week, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah. It happened so quickly that it was very nice to have it done so quickly. Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Is that it, Tom?
That's it, thanks.
All right, Steve.
Yeah, I traveled Tilbrook Road, was it Tilbrook, or? Yeah, Tilbrook Road practically daily. And I just want to commend the Public Works Department. They had a severe slide there off the road, and they did it all in-house, and I'm sure it could have been as bad or worse than the old Ramsey repair. And these guys did it in a timely manner and probably saved hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I just want to commend Public Works on that. Great job. And thanks to the Finance Committee for the work that they did in gathering us that money. And that's all I have.
Paul.
Actually wanted to thank Polyestock. We had the the Rusted Root event, we like to call it. That was a smashing success, and Mr. Lapsovich for bringing it to our attention. It was such a big success. We had a lot of smoking going on, a little extra trash going on, and a couple other residents had brought it to our attention. And Paulie he was right. I mean, we all know you can't smoke in the park, but people from out of town maybe not know that. So we did get some more signs posted. They are up. I think it will be effective, and the next time we have a big gala event like that, we know that we'll be a little better prepared. Thank you. That's all I have for tonight.
Hey, may I make a correction? That was
Sure.
Rosecrest. I said Tilbrook twice, and I wrote it down. It was Rosecrest
No,
Drive.
and you know what,
And I
Steve, I
drive
was
it every
going to
day.
bring, yeah, well, I was going to
I
bring
know he
Rose.
does. I knew it couldn't be Tilbrook because you don't drive that far.
It was Rosecrest.
Cost money for gas.
Well, Steve, I was going to bring up Rosecrest. I'm thinking, I didn't hear about the Tilbrook Road.
Not Tilbrook, oh boy.
That's Jimmy.
I just like,
That's close.
I'd like to thank those of you that attended the service recently for my friend and yours, Mr. Gibson. It was very nice. Appreciate everybody that was there. Secondly, most of you know I'm involved heavily with the Spirit of Christmas. It's a thing we do for the children every year. This year in Monroeville, October the 6th, that's a Tuesday evening. Mr. Hillgrove and I are going to be down at the new Golden Goblet on Old William Penn Highway. We will have a DJ, we'll have some food, we'll have a lot of laughs and fun. And we ask anybody that might show up to please bring an unwrapped toy. With that, I'm done.
Thank you, sir. Ron?
Oh, crap, you might as well lean back. 'Cause the first thing is Paul Hugus, this is the last time I'll ask you to do this, but I just want to do it because of the public meeting tonight. Could you explain to the residents the paving schedule for the rest of the year?
Plan is within the next 2 weeks to get started,
Okay.
weather pending. Now, it's been hot and dry, so we're staying.
Where does Old Ramsey fit in that?
Well, everybody
schedule?
has their own picks of what they want, where they want to start, but it's, the whole program's only going to take about a week, week and a half.
Okay.
So, you know,
So it could be
wherever it
done by the
falls,
end of
it'll-
October?
it'll be done by the end of October.
Okay, thank you.
I'd like to announce that I had been in contact with Sean Logan as far as the Turnpike development goes. I've had a lot of phone calls from residents and actually some coming up to me in person. We're going to be arranging a public meeting with the Turnpike officials to inform and educate the residents who own property near the Turnpike and any other resident who wishes to attend about the Turnpike expansion. Once I have set the firm date and time and location with him and the Turnpike people, I will ask Mr. Little to put it on the website, maybe even have time to announce it at the next meeting, and hopefully with some help from the local papers, we can put it in there. Because it is an important meeting. If you're interested about what this expansion's going and what it's doing and things like that, that would be the event to attend. The next thing is that I think my cries on these blighted houses were heard. Thanks to a state senator in Murraysville. Her name is Kim Ward. She just had a bill passed. I couldn't believe I was actually reporting on this still a week ago, and here it is. Governor Tom Wolf signed into law Bill 330, which will give local governments another tool to fight blight. The bill, sponsored by Senator Kim Ward, increases fines and penalties and turns it into criminal offenses of the Municipal Housing Code avoidance. Under the current law, a person may only be charged with the criminal offense if they are convicted 4 times of the same building code violation. This goes on to say that they've increased that, and a second conviction of the violation for the same municipal property or building code related to the same property would be a second-degree misdemeanor, and the person convicted would be serving a 10-day jail term and under the mandatory minimum of 6 months probation and pay not less than a $1,000 fine. A third or more conviction under the same property would go to a first-degree misdemeanor, and the person would be convicted and have 30 days in jail, undergo a year's probation, and a fine of not less than $3,000. And it ends by saying Act 34 of 2015 goes into effect this month. So,
Hear, hear.
hallelujah.
So how do we incorporate that here? Tim?
That would probably be a dice question.
Mr. Dice?
Well, I think that we've adopted that housing code, correct, Paul?
No, we enforce the International Property Maintenance Code,
Okay. And the code that he's talking about,
is the housing code. I'd have
We
to look and
enforce
see.
that?
I don't know if they cross over or not. I'd have to look.
we'll take a look at
Ron,
that.
what was the act? You said Act 34?
It's Senate Bill 330, Act 34 of 2015.
2015.
Hopefully, we can take advantage of that.
It's obviously incorporated into a Pennsylvania housing code.
Right.
Question is, do we enforce that? Or does the county do it, or does somebody else do it?
That's the big $64,000 question.
So maybe we can check into that, and hopefully we can make use of that new law, because they went right where we've been trying to figure out this problem. Next is, I just hope everyone is aware that school's back in session. I want everybody to watch when they're driving on the roads, because the school kids are out there. Thanks to the administration for sending out the letter to the McClure Road residents, explaining to them the paving plan and giving them a little notice what's going on with their road. Some of Monroeville's expenses this past month, payroll in August alone was $888,000. Vehicle maintenance, not including fuel, was $28,503. Totals goods and services was $446,000, and that doesn't include health insurance. And my last comment, of course, is the same as it was this past Thursday. Budget time is here. Please keep in mind, and in my opinion, there are only three ways to approach this budget this year, and that's to maintain the budget as we have, with no extra expenses, no cuts in public services, which allows us to climb a little further out of the debt hole. This means that you, the residents, have to get used to the cuts in services, such as the number of streets we pave and the size of the capital improvement budget. The second way is to raise taxes responsibly, which would allow us to increase the capital improvement budget and make bigger contributions to the pension funds. Again, climbing out of debt. And the last one is to take out a bond issue, go back into debt, and take out a bond issue big enough to accomplish the projects that you want us to accomplish. And that's the end of my report.
Mayor, Ron, could I, real quick, Ron, I've been waiting all season, the season's almost over, for your report on the garden.
I'm not even going to take that.
Here it is. I have one thing to say. Bruce Dice's glasses beat yours.
We do like
I appreciate that, Ron.
Nick. I don't even know what to say about that. Nick.
It's a tough act to
That
follow.
was good. I can't beat that. I can't.
Looking for a status update, Mr. Little, on, a few months ago, we spoke about cell phone micro towers. If everyone remembers, these are a new type of antenna that are going up. Right now, we don't have any kind of jurisdiction over them, any kind of language in our ordinances to limit them or to regulate them in any way. And essentially, they're kind of like, almost like telephone poles with a couple transformers on top of them, and they can go up in people's neighborhoods. So we were looking into a firm drafting an ordinance, and what's the status?
Yeah, I got an email from Natasha Horton a couple weeks ago, and she had an initial draft. I've printed it out. I've briefly gone over it. I haven't talked to Paul Hugus about it yet, but we'll be doing that this week or next week, and I'll get back to Natasha on anything that we revise, and then once we go through that process, we'll bring it to council.
That's from Dan Cohen's office?
Yeah. Okay, thank you. The reason why I ask is and I'll talk to Mr. Hughes about this later. There might be one that I've noticed in Monroeville. We can talk more about it.
Where was that? Where was that?
Well, let me ask him first before I,
All right.
I'm identifying something that's totally not that, but we'll talk. So, but as long as the process is moving along, that's fantastic. Mr. Caleri mentioned about the Rivertown Poorhouse event, Rusted Root, and Mr. Little thanked these individuals last week. We just wanted to follow up with that. Christian and Lisa Fike, they're the owners of Rivertown Brewing, and I want to thank them for bringing this event to Monroeville. It was a really nice event, and hopefully we can do more things like this at the amphitheater. And then lastly, just want to wish all of our residents of the Jewish faith the best during their high holidays this month of September. It is their New Year, so Happy New Year to you, or as you say, Lashana Tova. And for that, that's all I have for this evening, Mayor.
Very good, Nick. All righty. Linda.
I would like to thank Mike Gallagher for coming up and trying to explain the insurance processes. Since we had so many questions last week, I thank you for your time to help us untangle our thoughts. Next, I'm going to remind everyone that this Saturday, the 12th, the police department here will be accepting any unused or expired medication for safe disposal. So that's very important. Don't be throwing them in your garbage cans or down your toilets, or there's a safe way to do that. And lastly, the senior center is going to have a flu shot clinic Monday, September 28th from 11 to 1. And you can make a reservation, an appointment, by calling 412-856-7825. You need to call by September 21st to make an appointment, and bring your insurance cards with you, But that, you can go there and get your flu shot if you'd like. And
Excuse me,
with that,
Linda,
I'm finished.
do you have to be a senior?
You have to be over 50.
You don't even closely resemble that, so don't worry about it.
Will I qualify?
Couple years, couple years.
You can get 2 shots, Tom.
I apologize to the audience and folks at home. Just a couple of real quick things, and Jim, you certainly brought up a subject near and dear to the Gibson family, heartfelt condolences. I know many of the residents here knew Bobby. He was very deeply involved in our community as well as our American Legion, and we will be missing a big pair of shoes. I just don't know. He was just a great guy. And Nick, you stole some of my thunder to our Jewish community. Happy New Year's, and please enjoy your holiday season. And with that, I seek a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you and good night.